Hey everybody, this is Coach Parker with CoachParker.org. How you guys doing today? Hey, I wanted to make a video on parent communication. I keep getting asked this over and over by other coaches, even within my league, on what I do, what's going out, and things like that. So this is a video on really the introduction parent letters and meeting notes and things that I give out to parents at the really first of the season and how we deal with that. So this might be long and some people might, not want this, but this is kind of a big deal, really to set the tone of your practices and your team going forward and how to deal with parents in this first initial conversation, how you deal with them. So let's just jump right into it so we can get started here. So basically, I've put this together. I've been thinking about this. I'm going to probably do a video specifically for my Bantam Rams team. So if the parents miss the meeting, they can go to this video. So that's why you kind of see it as Rams here, if you're wondering. So the first thing I do when we get our roster from the league, they want us to call the player pretty much immediately that day, within 48 hours, and also send an email. And the league sends an email too, but they want the coaches to follow up with a call and an email. And I find that really works. Parents are itching. I mean, I've been a commissioner, and I still run the marketing and Facebook, Twitter feed and emails for the league, and we get a lot of parents emailing, when's the draft, when we're going to get picked, when are they going to sign my team. So you've got a lot of parents that are antsy about that, and the kids are antsy, so you want to get that done pretty quickly. I've got a parent letter that I give out at the first practice or the parent meeting when we have that. I've got my notes, which I'll show you. League policy letter, you should put that in there. I have my own policy letter that's pretty strict. And then we have a playtime statement. And then make sure you have a website and a messaging app. We use GroupMe, but you may just use your own phone messaging app, or you might use TeamSnap for a website that has that built in. I use Shutterfly. It's free. I almost started using TeamSnap this year, but I just didn't feel like paying the price. I've kind of got it set up in my old ways. But TeamSnap is nice. I just didn't really want to pay for it. So, and I've got so much on Shutterfly, so that's where I'm at. I don't use Facebook groups or private groups much. I know other people do, just because I don't want parents friending me during the season to see my personal stuff. And I still don't really like that too much, and that's just a quirk with me. Maybe you guys don't mind that. But if you're on Facebook and they're on Facebook and you're in a group, which is I've done before, they really want to kind of friend you and get into your stuff, and I don't really want all those folks in my personal life. So that's a quirk for me. So let's just go into this intro call. I mean, this is so simple, but I keep getting asked, so I'm doing the video here. Introduce yourself. Go ahead, coach of the Rams. Glad you've chosen your child for the team. Look forward to a great season. I usually ask, has your child played before? What position do they play? Do they like football? Do they have any medical or mental conditions I need to be aware of, like ADHD, allergies, peanut allergies? Do I need an EpiPen? Is there an emergency number if they have any of these conditions that I need to deal with? We had a handicapped child play with us one season, and we just needed to know how to help him in case he got hurt. So just ask those questions, and if you do take the information, make sure you're using it. We're looking at these practice days, these starting times. Does that work for you and your spouse or the person that's driving your child to practice? Does that all work? This is probably what's going to be, but just taking kind of a quick poll. The thing that we get in spring football is a lot of people go off for spring break. Are you going to be taking any extended vacation, spring break, any weddings? Are you playing select baseball where you've got practice and game conflicts? We want to know that early so we can plan around that. So might as well get that out of the way. Let them know you use email a lot. You're using GroupMe application. You do use Shutterfly, and all the reminders come from those. We're not calling a lot of people. If they don't like to use a computer, that's going to be a problem because we're not going just to make phone calls to everybody on the list. It's, email's been out there forever. We continue to have that, but make sure you remind the parents that they need to be on these things because when their player is in junior high and high school, at least here in Texas, they use Twitter and Facebook, so you're going to get on it eventually. And the coaches don't really care if you're not on it or not. If you don't want the information, it's there. After we get through all that, do you have any questions? Look for my next email. Look for the practice that we're going to have. Thank you. Any else? Blah, blah, blah. So, I try to get through that roster quick. I don't try to spend a lot of time on the phone this first call, but just boom, 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 get that initial stuff, do your league job, contact them, get it out there, and get the next email out to them. So then here's my basically next email, which is really kind of the same kind of stuff. It just goes into a little bit more detail. That we're going to hold a parent meeting at our first practice, and this is where that's going to be. The parent meeting is mandatory for one of the parents. We want both of them to be there. That's why I give a handout in case only one parent is there, so I get a handout. I introduce myself, who I am, what I've done, my assistant coaches, my co-head coach. Go through that. We set we basically tell them this is how the practice times are going to work out. In the spring here, we got to be under lights for a while, and then when the time changes, we can move to our regular practice field. So that's basically what I'm telling them here. And on Saturdays, we'll be at our regular practice field. But while it's dark, we're under the lights at KYA Field. So we go through that. We talk about that. And then if I haven't spoken to you by phone, please call me. This is the intro email. So, hopefully they'll see this email and they'll call. So a lot of this may be highlighted in different colors. In my email, I'll have please respond in big yellow red. So they respond. I verify their email. A lot of times I've got to confirm uniform sizing really fast, so I need to get everybody on the phone for sizes, numbers, blah, blah, blah. So I've got to talk to these people, and the league pushes us to do that. I want them to send me, from this email, any other parent emails or contact information. A lot of the times the league only has one. I want the spouses, the stepdads, the real dads that are not living with them, the grandparents that are going to be picking them up or anything. Anybody that's going to be involved with access to their child while we have them, I want their name and contact number so I can make sure I know who they are. And that's a big deal because after practice sometimes you really got to wonder. We had a restraining order on one dad, so, make sure, I don't know how you mentioned that, but that came up, so we had to deal with that. So those are some issues going on there. Tell them, basically they need to join the website. Here's the website. They should have got an invite kind of thing if you're doing all that. Any questions, please contact me. Here's all my contact numbers in the footer. I've got that all down there. Coaches are looking forward to meeting you, and that's the intro email. So hopefully, I'm tracking who I've talked to during this process and who's returned their email to me. And by that time, hopefully, I can see who's the problem and who I need to get, keep calling like every 30 or 40, every hour or two to try to track them down so I can get all the uniform verification and make sure that they know that they're on the team and so forth. And so really a lot of coaches like, I called them once. No, people are busy. You got to call them more than once. You got to email them maybe more than once. Just one time, a lot of new coaches, I did this, I did it. Well, you may have the wrong number, so sometimes the league so you have to follow up and kind of track some stuff down. So don't give up just because you can't get them on the phone. Make sure you phone them, you email them, If you still can't get in touch with them, you probably need to contact your league director, make sure and verify that information. Maybe they have another email or phone that they didn't give you, so forth. But you've got to contact your child that's on your team, I'd say within 48 hours. Otherwise, they're usually contacting the league saying what's up. And sometimes that's good too. So those are the intro stuff. Sorry, I'm kind of going fast, but I don't want this thing to be 30, 40 minutes. So here's my parent meeting letters. So now it's our first practice, or we've set up a specific parent meeting, meet and greet, which we try to do sometimes if we have time. And so we just talk to the parents while the kids go play a chase game or throw the football around. So we're in this parent meeting. I've got notes behind this letter, but I give them a letter so they can take to their other significant others or grandparents or whoever, and they can share this with them because they may not be at this meeting. And that's why I'm thinking about turning this video or another video into my actual parent meeting video, so I can send the link out, say if you missed a meeting, please watch this, put a comment below that you've done it. So here it is. Basically the first sentence is, welcome, we're interested in coaching your child. Please, make sure we're going to have fun. And I put a statement in here about we're really into blocking and tackling and running, and that's what we're teaching, the fundamentals. Don't worry about your child's NFL career, because all these parents, are more so than 20 years ago, are really tuned into where their child's at. And, this KYA is a rec league, and even select. It's still supposed to be fun for the kid and not so crazy, so let's make sure we remind them of that. I basically go again into who I am, who Coach Witt is, what we do, who we've frozen, that we don't have any kids on the team kind of thing, setting that all up. We try to let them know who we are. We're looking for some more volunteers, and I've got a list there. I didn't put it in here, but whatever volunteers you need, you'll see my list that's next. It's like some more assistant coaches, helper dads, a photographer, a statistician, etc. You got to go do that. I tell them, and this is true, Coach Witt and I are highly organized coaches, almost to a fault. We pre-plan everything and plan. So if their child is going to miss practice or games, we need to know like now so we can revamp our practice plans. I don't mean how many times last season we had a couple of players that were missing, and it really was kind of a pain because we wouldn't know until maybe 30 minutes before the practice, and things that I get up in the morning and look at my work email and stuff, and then I'll take an hour or so during lunch to kind of plan out my practice. And if I don't know your child isn't there, then it's kind of a pain. We have to readjust our practice plan. So anyway, so you can explain to that. If you have any issues during the season, you want to give them all your contact information, how they can get in touch with you. I talk about our 48-hour rule here, especially if we've lost, don't come up to us right after the game and start preaching to us what shouldn't do. I used to have a problem with that a lot in select football, not so much here at KYA, but some of you select guys probably have that problem. So just put that in. No one is to contact me on Sundays. I had somebody show up my door on Sunday afternoon, and Sundays are for my family, and I'm not really going to be interested in talking to anyone on Sundays, so just make them aware of that. Let them know that you're unpaid if you're an unpaid volunteer. Basically, then we talk about please sign into our website. Here's the address. Look forward to end on a high note after you've got up to your 480-hour rule. We look forward. Let's have fun. We want to learn fundamentals, and make sure that you look organized in this parent meeting. So here's my notes behind this letter that I go through. And this is, usually a 30 to 40 minute. That's the reason we do this meet and greet, because I feel like if you can set up your parent meeting tough right at the first and just let everybody know what it is, everything kind of flows better the whole season. If you don't have it, everybody feels like they can just do whatever. So, here's the parent meeting. You see the introduction stuff that I've got behind that letter, so that I'm going through primary goals to have fun. Here's the practice times. We expect you at practice. Practice is what wins game. Where the practice location is. I talk about Lombardi time. Coach Witt calls it Parker time. I'm into 15 minutes early. Try to get everybody there really 15 to 30 minutes early before practice to do a lot of pre-practice stuff. I like that. Plus, we could start on time instead of trying to wait on somebody to put a mouthpiece and never feel. Chin strap has been lost, and we got to get another chin strap, so that's how we do it. We talk about really what the first couple of practices are. Sometimes I'll give out our first 3 practice plans in this packet so they can see what's going to happen. Plus, you look really organized. So if you haven't seen my practice plans before, they're over at coachparker.org, and I think there's a PDF from a couple of years ago that you can get like a whole season of practice plans on how I did it. But it's pretty rough, but it's out there. But basically, we talk about that, we're not playing daddy ball. We don't have any kids on the team. We're evaluating all these players for the next couple of practices. And over the next 3 to 4 weeks, everybody's going to get a chance to do everything. And then, the last scrimmage or so, right before the game, we kind of place people in. And even during the season, folks may or may not move since these guys are so young. So they really have to keep learning and playing their position well. We talk about tackling. We do Seahawk tackling. A lot of older, new people to football haven't really heard of the Seahawk tackling, the things that you do there. So we've got a video on our website that talks about it so the dads can look at that, because a lot of that is different than what we were taught back when I played in the 70s and 80s. And I know a lot of that still didn't talk to the guys that played in the 80s and 90s. So we have them look at that. We want them to review the KYA Code of Conduct. They got a couple of things there we talk about. Then here we talk about for the help, team mom, dad, booster, assistant coaches, equipment manager, first aid. We got a play sheet guy that we want to deal with because it's too hard as a coach to do that. We look at the chain crew. We like to get a photographer if we can, a videographer for practices and scrimmage to help us out. And if there's any brothers, sisters, parents that want to be water people, we can have them come in. We talk about the communication, email and text, shutterfly reminders. They can always get a hold of me. I do tell them, though, when practice starts, my phone's in my bag, and I can't hear it really on the practice field. So it all has to happen before practice times. We talk about a scout game package. It's $400 for the team, so it's about $25 to $30 per player. We like to get it. Everybody gets videos of all the games. If you want game socks and helmet stickers, that's another $10 to $20 per player if we want to go that route. They always ask about uniforms and helmets. Those come basically the week prior to the game. They're not going to get them right now. We talk about we want everybody to be to do good in school, because a lot of parents some parents will hold their child out of practice if they're not getting their schoolwork. So we always want to stay on top of schoolwork with the parents and let them know that we can help them out with running and extracurricular activity there if the grades are going bad or conduct. We want to confirm roster info and do all that and go through that. We will not, just real quick, and we do questions. On the assistant coaches that we need, that we'd like to get, and the team mom, I won't usually pick that at the first few practices because I want to get to know these people, and I also want to get to know their kids. You got to be careful of picking coaches and team moms if their child may be a weaker player on the team and doesn't play a lot, because I will tell you the expectation is since they're volunteers, their child is going to start, and so that becomes a problem for some parents that can't separate that out, and just it's about a 50% problem. So just be careful and understand that can happen. I've had several team moms that if their child wasn't a starter or didn't play that position that she thought they should play, it became an issue. So just try to work that out. The other thing with team moms or dads, or the booster dad or manager, make sure they are computer literate and know how to send emails and text and do attachments and things like that. We've had a few team moms that can't do that now, and it puts a lot of pressure back on us coaches because we basically have to do these downloads and help them send emails. And we're trying to get a team mom to offload a lot of that admin from us. So you want somebody that really does all that kind of in their career or has done that in the past. So just a little information there. So here's the KY Code of Conduct. This will be your leagues. Ours is pretty quick because they just have this on the computer. And I actually think it's been updated lately, but this is the one I've got for this presentation. So basically, it says don't be an ass to the league or officials, or and who you can contact. And if you're not, they're going to kick you out. So that's kind of their thing. Mine's a little bit tougher, and I go really into some stuff here, and we'll try to get through this pretty quick since I'm moving on 20 minutes. Basically, parents don't really set realistic goals for their child sometimes, especially for their mental and physical capabilities. And I try to remind them of that, and they're not the ones that are playing. A lot of times, a great young athlete may be physically awesome, but their mental part isn't there, and so they can't remember plays. And parents do not understand why they're not a running back if they can't remember plays. Look, for us, Coach Witt and I, we do a lot of stuff, and so if they can't remember the plays where they go, they're probably not playing running back for us, even though they may be the fastest kid in the league. And that's happened to us a couple of times, and parents freak out over that. So you just need to let everybody know where you're coming from. So basically, this first 6 or 7, I basically tell the parents, you're not going to do anything negative to us or the league. You're not going to make any comments. You're not going to advise us. You're going to be an adult and be respectful. You're going to be a team fan, and also you're going to encourage your child to do that. And it's not a right to play, but a privilege. And so it goes through basically, and I pulled all these from like codes of conduct, all over the internet. I pulled like each one of these from the got the best of the best, pulled these in. So a lot of these aren't mine, or I've updated those, so I apologize. I can't remember where I've gotten these from. These are so long ago. But yeah, so I've grabbed the best of the best statements from like all these codes of conducts that I found. So that's that. You can read that. You can pause the video and read them all there. I think I've got this out on my website, but if I don't, leave me a comment and I'll shoot you the email of this packet that's in Word of these letters and parent code of conducts and stuff like that. Basically here, you're basically the parents you're telling the parents to make sure your child and any visitor that comes to the game that you're in control of those. Don't be yelling things from the sidelines or coaching from the sideline or as a chain gang member. I had a dad that was yelling in the second playoff game that I was in as a coach. He cost us the game because he yelled at his son who played middle linebacker to blitz, and we had another blitz going. His son was not supposed to blitz, and the kid ran right up where that guy was supposed to be. So just, you don't know what – most parents do not really know what's going on with the plays and games, so they shouldn't be coaching their kid, and we try to keep that. We try to let them know that that's just not what's going to happen. We reiterate the 48-hour rule here. There's no Sunday meetings. Please email me first or text me. We can set up an appointment, and then we can do that alone versus you and I yelling after a game in the middle of the field. That's happened to me before, and it just doesn't work out for anybody really well. Basically, it says be a part of the team, no abuse, blah, 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 And if you don't like any of that, I'm just going to ask the league and that you can't attend practices or games, and that's kind of where it is. I like to be really tough up front and come off of that. If you're soft up front, they're just going to take total advantage of this. But you really want to set the tone. We're not going to be able to do anything out of the ordinary here. He's going to nip it in the bud, which I do. But you really want to set the tone early. I feel comfortable with that. There's no question of where everything this is. You want to be nice when you're saying all this, kind of joke around. But It is true. I don't want them advising me on how to coach. I've been coaching a long time, and we don't need them yelling from the stands or hitting the league or coaches or league officials. I was hit as a league official by a parent about 4 years ago, hit in the face, and the cops came. So, don't really want any of that anymore. So I really want to set the tone here. Then I put at the end the thing about playtime, because parents just don't really understand playtime. It's really determined by us. Basically, the overall effort and practice, and we want to focus on practice. Perfect practice equals winning games. You can't really play in the game if you're not at practice. Practice is where you learn. So we really want to tell them that. And all players get 5 plays in our league, a half. But that's if they make practices, all the practices. So that's practice again. And then we talk about the effort of the player and the parent toward us. And then the other thing is knowledge and execution of our system. If the player cannot remember their plays and can't do what we're telling them to do, they can't be a starter in our system most of the time in a skill position. And we want to make sure they understand that. And I go through this on that. And there's, basically blocking and tackling, defensive effort, execution of offense, because they all want to play quarterback or running back, but they can't if they do not understand the system and they don't make practice. Then they don't get to be the starter, and that just needs to be talked about. We also expect good grades. We want to see kids bring their homework and their tests in to see hundreds, and we also want parents to let us know who's not doing well. And really, if you're getting a kid that's making C's and F's, they're probably not remembering their plays, and all this comes into effect here. So there's a lot of other stuff going on there. So that's about playtime. At the end, it says we're going to make the final decision. Basically, you're not in the process. Your son or daughter, your child is going to get their plays. That's set by the league. But beyond that, it's really up to us. And here's basically how that works. So I know that's a lot. Sorry, this has been a 30-minute video. Hopefully you can speed through it. You did on YouTube for things you didn't like. But yeah, so remember, this is Coach Parker. I've got more information over coachparker.org. I do have 2 youth football books out, the Power Wing Beast Offense and my 6'2 Multi-8 Youth Football Defense. Both of these are great youth football coaching books. I am writing a spread book, which is actually over at coachparker.org. Just hit the youth football playbook store over there, that link. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can do the thumbs down, I guess. Leave me comments. Would love to hear some of the things you guys are going through with parent communication. Buy my playbooks. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're having a great Valentine's Day today. It's, February 14th, 2018. So it is Valentine's, So happy Valentine's. And remember to play for fun, and winning is funner. Thanks again for joining. You guys have a great day. Ciao.